Team Rivalry Reaction.
How's it going, Big Ten football fans? This is Mackenzie with Team Rivalry, and I've got some East Division previews for you. 2023 East Division previews, even. So, Cliff, or Dad, this is why you don't go into business with your family, because I don't know how to refer to him professionally. So, the other guy did West Division previews, and that wrapped up a week ago. So now we're going to get into some East Division previews. And we're going to start off with a team that has a special place in my heart. Mostly, all of our hearts, really. Mostly because I think we all just feel really bad for them. You know, Rutgers, Scarlett Knights, they are the birthplace of college football. And they've fallen on some hard times for the last 100 years or so. So, can they improve? Will this season be the season that the Scarlet Knights improve? And I think the answer is no. No, it's not. So last season, taking a look at some of their stats here, they averaged 153.9 yards per game passing. That's 124th in the nation. They were tied 95th with rushing yards per season. They were 124th in points scored. They were 37th actually in points against, which that's actually not bad for them. So they had a relatively decent defense. Definitely not something that's going to keep up in the Big Ten, but a decent defense nonetheless. So we all remember last season. Last season they started off pretty solid, 3-0, although they had the close game against Temple, and then just kind of fell apart from there. They had a good game against Indiana, solid game there, but just nothing showing the rest of the season. So this season, we really want to be looking at whether or not offense is going to be improved for them. So Rutgers has been making some interesting moves in the offseason. Actually, during the season last year, they fired their offensive coordinator. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I'll just see if I can find that while we're cooking here. But over the offseason, they made a bit of an interesting hire here, bringing in their new offensive coordinator, Kirk Ciaroca. I feel like that's how you pronounce that. Kirk Ciaroca. I should just call him Ciaroca and go with it. He was actually the offensive coordinator at Minnesota. Minnesota ranked 16th nationally in rushing offense this season, which was actually his second stint in Minneapolis. He had done a season there prior to accepting the offensive coordinator position at Penn State, but subsequently got fired from that in 2020. And then spent a year down in West Virginia, and then reunited with P.J. Fleck at Minnesota for 2022. And in 2022, Minnesota's offense was actually not too bad. I feel like they were inconsistent more than anything, but they weren't that bad. When they were firing on all cylinders, they were really good. The trouble was that they weren't really firing on all cylinders every game. So it was kind of a question of, which offense are you going to get this week sort of a thing for Minnesota. So it's an interesting hire, and I think it's a good hire for Rutgers, especially because they're just looking for anything at this point to give them a spark on offense. And they should have a decent returning offense coming back. I know there are some questions with their quarterback, Gavin Wimsatt. So his passing was a little bit, there's some questions there. Need to figure out what's going on with that. He is just a sophomore, but he's developing, but if they want the offense to take the type of step that they feel like it needs to under Ciaroca, then he's going to need to also take a pretty significant step forward as well. Speaking is not my strong suit today. But that being said, there's actually some reason for optimism for Rutgers on offense this season. But the problem is that defensively, not looking too hot. So they did lose three of their best defensive players in Christian Lizien. I apologize for the pronunciation of that. So sorry, Christian. Another Christian Braswell, and then Avery Young, and that's a pretty significant blow to a defense that already averaged about 5.2 yards per snap in 2022. So 5.2 yards per snap. Definitely not good. You're giving up a first down on average every 2 plays at that point, literally. So definitely needed some help there, and that's not going to be good for them losing those 2 players. And looking at their schedule this season, yikes. Big yikes. And think this is the last season before USC and UCLA are in the Big Ten. So big yikes. Starting things off with Northwestern. Really not sure what to expect from them. I'm going to call this a Rutgers dub for now because I think Northwestern was pretty bad last year, and I'm not sure that they had a lot of improvement over the offseason, or I'm not sure we can expect that really, but I guess we'll see. Temple, it was a close game last season, and now this season I believe it's on the road, so that might be a close game. I'm going to put it as a dub for Rutgers for right now, but maybe I'll change my opinion on that going closer. Virginia Tech, that's a loss. Michigan, that's a loss. Wagner, that's a win. And then I'm not seeing a win for the rest of the season here. Maybe Indiana. But again, that's a road game against Indiana, and that's their homecoming. So I don't know. Not feeling too hot about it. So right now I'm looking at giving Rutgers probably a 1, 2, 3, and 9 season. Maybe 4 and 8 if they can knock off Indiana. But there's absolutely a scenario where Rutgers also goes 1 and 10. So going to be interesting to see what happens with Rutgers. But in any case, if you agree with my opinions, then go ahead and let me know what you think in the chat section or the comment section down there. If you don't agree, well, then just leave. I don't want to hear from you. I'm just kidding. You can go ahead and comment too. We always like to hear from dissenting opinions, even if we don't like them. Give the video a like if you don't mind. Maybe subscribe to the channel even. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video. Thanks.
Hey!